good. We all look good. We remember the ceremonies are all great. It's a great honor. I've tried for myself. I've tried numerous times to get one by myself. I keep getting shut down. They say, you can't do it, sir. Bad protocol. Very bad. I would say the worst. But I'm only kidding. You don't have to say I'm only kidding. Otherwise, I come out with, which I actually did with. Donald Trump once again shut down. But now you are brave people. And I want to thank you all. In 1941, Roddy Edmonds of Knoxville, Tennessee, enlisted in the U.S. Army. Rose to one of the youngest master sergeants in the military. 1944, he sailed to Europe to fight in World War II. Enthusiastic and young and full of vim and vigor. Roddy soon found himself on the front lines of the Battle of the Bulge. Big one, massively outnumbered by enemy forces. His 1,200 soldier unit fought valiantly until they were completely overrun. The force was massive on the other side, many times the number. After a 4-day death march, one that was covered very well by the history books through Big Cold, they were put into a German POW camp. The top-ranking infantryman in the camp is number one, responsible for the lives of his fellow service members. On July 26, 1945, a Nazi SS officer issued an order over the camp loudspeaker, loud and strong.
Live remarks from the White House. Donald Trump in the last minutes, the possibility of more boots on the ground, of putting boots on the ground. This in an interview he gave to the New York Post. And then in those live remarks that we just witnessed, the U.S. President talking about how the operation could last more than 4 or 5 weeks. He'd thrown the figure out in an interview overnight with the... Let's cross live to Washington and correspondent Fraser Jackson. This Monday. Later, it will be the U.S. Secretary of State briefing Congress, and the day began with the War Secretary speaking.
Yeah, there's a bit of... they have said that this was going to be kind of a short... saying it's going to take 4 to 5 weeks. Donald Trump now saying that this mission could go on as long as he needs. And that was also something that was echoed by Pete Hegseth earlier in the day. He said this is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure change. And Pete Hegseth was the first of any U.S. official to kind of give a big outline of what the aims of this mission are. We heard it again from Donald Trump in the East Stream of the White House. They effectively said that Iran was using its missile and drone program as conventional shields for their nuclear blackmail program. And they basically said that the aim is to destroy Iran's missiles, the production of missiles, as well as the Navy and the infrastructure around, and ultimately to deny Iran a nuclear weapon and also to stop it from being able to prop up other proxy groups in the region. Well, Pete Hegseth is one who was asked about the length of this operation and whether it could spiral that was more long-term beyond the 4-week period that Donald Trump initially had mentioned first to my colleague Nikki Schwab from the Daily Mail on Sunday. And Pete Hegseth said this is not Iraq, this is not endless. This is the opposite. However, he also said that the U.S. would not be using what he said, no stupid. The U.S. would not be involved in nation exercise, no politically correct wars. It's an interesting moment now, because this then is different to what we've seen from Donald Trump in Operation Midnight Hammer, where it was a kind of one strike and done scenario, very similar as he did in Venezuela, where they surgically moved Maduro from Venezuela. This then is a very different situation. This is going to be weeks long, with the military itself recognizing that this is a longer term mission. Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says that it will be difficult and gritty work, and said that more troops were going to be sent to the area as well. And interestingly, from the Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, also from Donald Trump, not ruling out boots on the ground. Hegseth go as far as we need earlier in the day, and that will likely not go down with the American public, who, of course, Donald Trump was elected on a platform of America First, and putting an end to these what's Pete Hegseth called dumb forever wars.
Yeah, and we heard Pete Hegseth at that press conference. We can take a listen to him now, Fraser. He had stated that the objective, according to him, destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. But then he was asked about whether that was the same as Israel's objectives. This is what he responded.
Around Trump about regime change, but then Donald Trump about regime change, but then Donald Trump, in his video message that he posted on Truth Social last night, said that America has the backs of the Iranians and told Iranians to get out into the streets and basically do their part. For somebody who says that it's not about regime change, he's still certainly, pushing that forward for at least for certainly want to see a change of regime at the head of Iran. Has been a thorn in their side for decades now. So there's a kind of a double messaging going on here, and the White House is kind of speaking out of both sides of its mouth. But for now, the aims that they have clearly have been unfulfilled. They still are continuing in these aims, and Donald Trump says that despite the fact that the U.S. is much ahead in the timeline and that they thought it would be, it will certainly still be going on for some weeks or months. I think a very telling that the strike that they carried out on Khamenei's compound was so successful that the number 2 or number 3 guy that they thought was going to already have even idea of the Iranian structure.
Praise the production